All right, welcome to Talk Tickers. Today we are diving deep into Orla Mining's Q3 2025 earnings. And let me tell you, this was a big one. The report sent a huge signal to the market, so let's break down exactly what happened.
And there's that signal right there, a massive 13.8% jump in a single day. You just don't see that every day. So the big question is, what on earth did Orla report that got investors this excited? Let's find out. Okay, first up, the Q3 earnings beat. And really, it all boiled down to the headline numbers. Orla didn't just squeak by expectations. No, they absolutely blew them out of the water. So, let's look at the numbers side by side. I mean, this is where it gets really interesting. On the top line, you've got revenue coming in at almost $275 million. That's a solid 11% beat. But the real story, the thing that made everyone sit up and take notice, was the bottom line. Adjusted earnings per share hit 22 cents. That's not just a beat, that's a massive 23% beat over what the analysts were expecting. Just incredible.
But earnings are one thing, cash is another. And this is where the story gets even better. The real driver here was the cash flow. The company generated a record $93.1 million in free cash. Just look at that chart. It's more than double what they did last year. I mean, that is a cash printing machine. And a big part of that, of course, was a really high gold price they realized, over $3,400 an ounce. This is what really got the market's attention.
All right, so how did they do it? How did Orla pull off this record quarter? Well, the answer is pretty fascinating, actually. It's a story about the company's new strategy, a tale of two very different minds.
So, on one side of the coin, you have Musselwhite. This is the new acquisition, and it was the absolute workhorse this quarter. I mean, it was just firing on all cylinders, production was strong, everything was ramping up nicely. But on the other side, you had their legacy mine, Camino Rojo, and things weren't so rosy there. They had a pit wall issue that actually stopped mining for a bit and pushed costs up. But here's the kicker. The strength from Musselwhite was so powerful that it completely covered the problems at Camino Rojo. This is the diversification strategy playing out perfectly in real time.
And you don't have to take my word for it. The CEO, Jason Simpson, basically said it all right here. Another strong quarter with record margins delivering cash to the balance sheet. He's confirming the whole story we just talked about. The diversification plan is working, it's delivering cash even when they hit a few bumps in the road.
Okay, so that was the quarter that was. An absolute blowout. But what about the future? Where does Orla go from here? Well, management spent a lot of time on the call laying out their growth pipeline, and frankly, it's pretty compelling.
And they didn't just talk about it. They gave us a clear timeline of what's coming next. You can see the catalysts laid out here. The big one, the one to really watch, is the South Railroad project in Nevada. This thing is huge. We're getting a feasibility study, like any day now, this quarter. Then the big permit decision in 2026. And the goal? Pouring their first gold there in early 2028. The path is getting clearer and clearer, especially since they got this Fast 41 designation, which basically helps speed up all the federal red tape.
Now, you might be wondering, a huge new project? How are they going to pay for it? And this is the crucial part. Management was crystal clear. They are going to self-fund the entire South Railroad project with the cash they're generating. No need to go to the market. Plus, they're paying down debt faster and this is the big one, they're now talking seriously about a dividend, returning capital to shareholders. This is a huge pivot for the company, from a developer to a mature producer.
So let's recap. You've got a blowout quarter, a strategy that's clearly working, and a growth plan that they can pay for themselves. So how did Wall Street take it? Well, they didn't just like the story, they bought it, big time.
And you can see the proof right here in the trading volume. On a normal day, about 2 million shares of Orla trade hands. On earnings day, over 4 million. It more than doubled. Look, that's not just everyday investors getting excited. When you see a volume spike like that, it tells you the big money, the institutions, are getting involved. They're piling in.
And it wasn't just the stock itself. The really interesting action was in the options market. We saw a ton of trading in these December calls with a $17.50 strike price. Now, what does that mean? It's basically a leveraged bet that the stock is going to go way up by the end of the year. It's a very bullish, speculative signal.
All right, that brings us to the big finale, the next call. What is all of this? The great quarter, the growth plan, the market reaction? What does it all mean for the stock going forward?
So what's the trade? How should we be thinking about this company for the next quarter and beyond? Let's put all the pieces together and build a thesis. Okay, here's our call.
Given the fantastic operational performance, the fact that their growth story is becoming less risky by the day, and this huge pivot towards giving cash back to shareholders, we are initiating our coverage of Orla Mining with an outperform rating.
So let's break that down. What's the trade idea? Step 1 is the thesis, and it's pretty simple. We believe the market is going to keep re-rating this stock higher as they check off the boxes on that South Railroad project, and as that free cash flow just keeps rolling in. So step 2, our prediction. We see the stock moving up into that $15 to $17 range sometime in 2026. And finally, step 3, the action. For those looking to play that potential upside, one way to think about it is through long-dated call options to capture the value from those project milestones.
And that wraps up our breakdown of Orla Mining's Q3 results. As always, just remember, this is for informational purposes only. This is not financial advice.